to the Antisocial Planet, and today we are watching episode 36 and 37. Oh, we're getting up there, the numbers is gonna get harder for me to remember. So... So... we have a lot of different things going on with the captains and the lieutenants. We already had some conflict between them. We already had some, issues brewing in the background. Don't really know all of them yet. Don't really know their history with each other or the history of just, captains and lieutenants and, the Soul Society in general. So, but they've been around for a long time, and things that are around for a long time tend to have baggage. So, we're already dealing with some issues with that just in general, but now we've got some pretty substantial things going on. So we had the whole issue with Gin, so him letting Ichigo and his friends go when he could have just defeated them, and he didn't. Don't know why he did that. I'm thinking it's some kind of distraction. I feel like he's trying to do something else while everyone's distracted with Ichigo and his friends being in the Soul Society. I just don't know what it is. But, because of all the stuff that's going on with Ichigo, he's not going to get punished for letting them go right now because nobody has time. Everybody's busy trying to hunt down Ichigo and his friends. That's convenient for him. Yeah, I don't know what Gin is planning, but I feel like he lacks the, I don't know necessarily ambition, if that's the right word, but I feel like he lacks the grand picture. Like he doesn't have a wide view of things. I feel like he's very focused on his direct world that he's interacting with, but I also don't know him terribly well, so I could be totally wrong, but because he feels a little bit smaller scale in terms of what he concerns himself with, he seems selfish, but he doesn't seem like he wants to alter anything in the grander scheme of things, and that makes me think that he probably isn't the main villain. Also because it seems super obvious to be that guy, the super suspicious one that we've been dealing with since the beginning, who has the creepy smile. He's the bad guy. It feels like not the way that Bleach would go about doing that. Maybe another shonen, maybe another anime would be super obvious and be this is the villain for this arc. And we meet them in the first couple of episodes of the arc, and they're this is the bad guy. And the trick is figuring out how to defeat him. Whereas Bleach, the writing is more complicated. The vision of the world is more complicated than that. Even from earlier on, I was the sense of black and white isn't there in Bleach. Even when they were okay, hollows are not good. We don't like hollows. And I was cool, I got that. And then in the very next episode 2, they're well, actually, hollows are more complicated than that. They're not just mindless spirits that have been twisted. There's more going on. So I feel that has to be the case here. Bleach has never been the kind to be this is it. This is all there is. There's always something else underneath the surface layer. So I feel there has to be someone else, especially since we had poor Aizen in episode 34. So, I feel a captain has to be responsible for that, because one, captains are really powerful anyway, and two, Aizen is particularly powerful, I assume, the way that people treat him. He's not dumb either. He's a really smart person from what I can gather from the time that we spent with him. So, I feel it has to be a captain. It has to be someone who's very, very capable. And I'm not saying that Gin isn't powerful and capable, but it just feels like It just feels like there has to be something else, especially since it wasn't just Aizen being killed. It was like Aizen being killed and then like specifically staged in a certain way so that people would find him in a specific way. Like there was meant to be an impact just to the way of finding his body. And that makes me think that there has to be something deeper. Like maybe Gin would get mad at him, maybe Gin would pick a fight with him because they've been kind of butting heads this whole time. And I mean, maybe Gin would even try to kill him and maybe succeed, but I feel like Gin doesn't have he doesn't have like, you know, hurting Aizen doesn't feel like something that's in his plan, you know? And I feel like even if he was gonna go about taking Aizen out of the equation, he wouldn't do it that directly. Because it didn't feel like Gin was having issues dealing with Aizen. You know, Aizen was getting in the way of what Gin was trying to do, but like Gin was still seemed like he was getting away with what he wanted to get away with. I mean, he let Ichigo and his friends go, and he's not getting punished for it. So whatever he's got going on, it's working out for him, even though Aizen was like, we should probably punish him for that. Like, what is he doing? I don't feel like Gin did it. And that is like kind of a weird feeling for me because I've been suspicious of Gin since I first saw him. And now I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know who the bad guy is gonna be. Who's starting to cause all this conflict between the captains, especially since Hinamori, who is Aizen's lieutenant, definitely was like, it's Gin, and was like ready to throw hands, and Kira got in between that because he's Gin's lieutenant, and they've both been kind of shuffled away off to the side. So yeah, it feels like things are starting to fall apart. Like there wasn't a lot of unity between the captains to begin with. There feels a bit more between the lieutenants. Like they seem to get along a little bit better, but the captains seem to have a lot of friction between them, and they seem to kind of be off doing their own thing, but they all happen to be captains. And it's just getting worse with everything that's happening. And now we gotta talk about Ichigo. So a few things happening with Ichigo. He got injured, but he's been healed quite nicely. So that's good. Renji is also doing pretty good, which is like, thank goodness, because my heart was not ready for that. Yeah, Ichigo's healing pretty good. The Hollow Mask has made a reappearance. When did that happen? Because I don't think it would have happened just while because he's been in Soul Reaper mode for a while, since they, like, entered the Soul Society. So if it was just gonna appear every time he, like, went into Soul Reaper form, I feel like it would have come up before now. Like, he would have noticed it, someone else would have noticed it, it would have, like, appeared out in the open when he first transformed, and he's been doing it, like, while he was training with Urahara, too, so I feel like someone would have noticed before now. I mean, Urahara might have kept it to himself, let's be honest. But, yeah, so, like, why is it appearing now after his fight with Renji? And why is it there at all? Because he's not supposed to be a hollow, even though he, like, partly transformed into one. Is it? I don't really know enough about how hollows work. We haven't really seen them in a while. But, like, can someone... I mean, we saw with Orihime's brother that, like, there can be some, like, weird in-between stuff. So, like, is some of Ichigo turning partly into a hollow, like, is some of that still there? Like, does he still have some of that hollowness in him? Because that's a little terrifying. I mean, we'll probably find out. But at the moment, he is going up against Zaraki, who's one of the more intense captains, has a little bit of a bloodlust thing going on. So I feel like they are finally going to fight each other. We haven't seen anyone fight a captain yet, except like briefly Ichigo was up against Gin at the beginning of the arc, but we haven't seen anyone like really get into a fight with a captain, so I don't really know what to expect from it. Ichigo has failed pretty fast in the fights against captains up to this point. And we also have Shadow, who has his own captain, who is coming after him. The guy with the hat. So we'll probably see him. I mean, Shadow knows where Rukia is now, and he's got a pretty good sense of like where to find Ichigo, especially if Ichigo is like fighting someone. So he's going in the right direction. Everyone's, well, I can't say everyone. I don't know what Ishida and Orihime are doing. I'm sure we'll find out eventually, but people are starting to move in the same direction, and maybe we'll get to actually be together again. Strength in numbers. I don't know, but that's basically where we're at. Wow, I talked for a long time. There's so much happening now that, like, yeah. So I think we're going to focus more on the fights for this episode, maybe the next episode too, but I feel like we might not get a lot in terms of like progressing the story with like what's going on with the captains and like Aizen and stuff, but Bleach is a lot better at balancing out stuff than a lot of other shonen that I've watched, so maybe we'll be okay. Maybe we'll get a little bit further in those story arcs too. But with that, because I've talked long enough, we'll get into episode 36. In 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, didn't we have a brief moment where Rukia felt Zedeki's like weird bloodlust thing, because he had like this thing where he like put out all of this soul energy, like we saw with Rukia when she was a kid, when she fainted because she was around someone with a lot of soul energy. So he kind of like put it out. It has this weird like distorted reality thing that's like crushing down on Ichigo, which is terrifying, but also like kind of a cool mechanic. I always get conflicted with this show where I'm like, that's cool, but also I'm like, don't hurt the characters I really like. I'm like conflicted between my like compassion and my love of intricate world building, especially magic systems. I love a complicated magic system. Alright. Who's fighting first? I'm gonna say Ichigo and Zedeki. Yes, the long staircase. I'm tired just thinking about it. Not lax, just efficient, I think. Yeah, that. Ugh. Ooh, squad 5. Yes. Detention. Detained. Ugh. Poor thing. She was the girl that we saw at the ender last time, and I think she was with like a younger Gin, which is interesting. If there's like another lieutenant that knows Gin, I'm pretty sure she's a lieutenant. I believe it. See, like, there's so much chaos happening. I feel like it has to be a distraction for something else. Right. Aizen was the captain of that of Squad 5. Is that the thing he was writing? What would he write her though? Like, is because he was figuring out something and he left her some kind of clue? Because that's like the only reason I can think of someone wanting to kill him is like he was figuring out something he shouldn't. Like maybe whatever's actually going on besides the like what's being like this distraction. So he knew. Involved in what? Let me know. Tell me the truths. Tell me the truths. I need answers. Ay. I think he's already found you. Don't think you can just outrun him. Yeah. Oh no! Well, that's spooky. People need to stop getting stabbed. Don't play it again. Why would you do that to me? My heart rate is really high now. You have no idea. He's not going to do that. Yeah. Like, like with that, like, sword stabbing through him, like, is that an illusion? Is that just his intent to kill? Does it have something to do with targeting his soul energy as opposed to his physical body? Yeah. It has more of a physical effect on people who have like flatus or more. She's so tiny. She's probably got a lot of power in that tiny body. Divide and conquer. Especially since Gaju and Hanatori probably don't have anywhere near the power they need to be helpful in this fight. Confident. I don't think it's gonna work out. Is it? Ah. So it's more like a title than anything else. That's kind of cool. He's immortal. Like actually immortal? Yeah, I don't know how much help you guys sticking around would be either. Do you, Genju? Are you guys friends now? Oy. Are we gonna get to see what his sword does? Oh, sure. Oh, that's the boar! What happened to Ganju's boar? Someone taking care of it for him? He's the most important one, right? The captain's? He's like in charge of everything. What's this lieutenant like? Who's this guy? Okay, so yeah, we kind of checked in with the whole thing that was happening with the captains, lieutenants, and stuff, in that we briefly saw Hinamori when she was like locked up in Squad 5, but we didn't really deal with it. I mean, she has this like paper that Aizen left her that has all these secrets, and I know they're not going to tell me all at once. They're not just going to give me the answers, but I would prefer if they did. I'd prefer if I knew something about what was going on. It definitely, like I was saying, like it feels like the only reason that Aizen would be targeted at all is because he knew something he shouldn't. And I feel like it's something that's going on in the background while like all of this mayhem and chaos is happening in the forefront. But it was really about Ichigo and his fight with Zaraki, who is has some power. one might say, a lot of power. We found out that his name, Kenpachi, is like a special name that's handed down to people who are like really good fighters. They like fighting, who have this like I want to say almost immortality, but like maybe immortality. I don't really know the extent of like how powerful a Soul Reaper can be. I know that they can be hurt and they can be killed because we've gone through that before, but I don't know like what the cap is. I mean, it might because it's like his soul pressure, soul energy is just his output unconsciously is so much stronger than Ichigo's that like Ichigo can't even compare to him. Like they're just their levels are so different that Zaraki is like unaffected because he's just on a whole different level. So I don't know if that means like he is actually legitimately immortal or if it's just like he's so strong he's like as good as immortal because people just don't have well there's probably somebody out there who has more power than him, but like the majority of Soul Reapers are nowhere close to scratching him with their power. Looks like it might be a bit of a tough fight. I don't really know how Ichigo is gonna get out of it. We know that he can kind of go Super Saiyan and have a lot of soul energy, like when he was fighting that really strong Hollow. But it kind of it's really unstable, so I don't know if he'd have any more like control of it now that he's had some more training, but I feel like mostly he like wouldn't really have like it would just be like this outburst of soul energy and it wouldn't really like and maybe he could focus it enough for an attack if he could land one, but I don't feel like it would be something that he could like easily recover from. He needed Ishida to help him last time, so maybe he gets out of it some other way? Maybe something interferes? I don't know. We didn't see Shadow and his fight in this episode, so it looks like we're gonna get into that. I don't know if we're like gonna focus on that the next episode or if we're going to kind of alternate between the two fights. It looks like Shadow is fighting somebody else though before the captain. Maybe we'll get like a warm-up battle or he's like fighting somebody who's a little bit lower down in one of the squads and then he ends up fighting a captain. I mean, if Ichigo is having issues fighting a captain, I worry for my sweet boy Shadow because he's powerful and he has determination, but I don't think he's anywhere near the raw power that Ichigo has. But I don't really understand his like armor ability either. And he's like just gotten into like unlocking his soul energy, so maybe he's got more going on than he probably has more going on than I know about. Let's be honest. So it looks like we're gonna see him fight. We're probably gonna see, hopefully, some of the results of what Ichigo's fight is gonna be. I probably gonna need Totoro for the next episode, though. Cause, yeah, I was not expecting that sword to go through Ichigo. I need people to stop getting stabbed. Like, just for a little bit. You know? I need some time where people are, like, not almost dying. Probably not gonna happen anytime soon, though, because we're getting to the end of this arc. So it's probably gonna be, like, intense for the next while. But let's just get in episode 37, and hopefully we'll be okay. In 3, 2, 1, go. We're really close to the end of the arc, aren't we? when I think about it, I'm like episode 41. I think it's the last episode of this arc, and then like I think the next one is still in the Soul Society. If I remember like the little title of the arc, it would have to be there. Like I'm like, how are they gonna get in and out? What has taken all this time just to get to where they are? Um, so I think it's still technically like the Soul Society arc until like episode 64. Um, Still. I was like looking back through some of my videos and I'm like, it took me so long to like get to a point where I was like actually consistently watching Bleach. I would go so long without watching an episode at the beginning, and now I'm like, I need an episode now. Oh, Shadow beam people up. Is Yama the old man with the mustache? Who and the little beard? Who's like in charge of everybody? Shadow. Was that really necessary? Seems a little overkill. Is this another talker? Someone who's like, I am amazing, but then in execution is slightly less impressive. What are you doing? You're already sweating a lot. Ooh. Yeah. Wow. He team rocketed him. What is Yoruichi doing? Where's the kitty at? What's he been up to? Look a little tired, Shadow. Which worries me, considering that the worst is yet to come. Flowers? Does he like flowers? Oh, it's very theatrical. I love it. Oh, oh, I like her. She's like not putting up with it. The music shifted. Unlikely he would just leave. Oh. Yes, that is the issue here, Shadow. You are too young to drink. His kimono. Why would you see? Okay, everybody just calm down. There's a lot of property damage happening. I didn't know he had those, like, energy ball punches. It doesn't seem like an effective strategy. I don't think long distance is where you excel, Shadow. I think close combat might be where you kind of get to shine. They are on a different level. Yes. That seems to be what's going on. Yeah, I mean, if you can't hit him, you're just tiring yourself out. Hey! Using his life force, though. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think it's so much that Arukia is who he's there for. He's there for Ichigo. You better not. You got a flashback? Or am I just supposed to remember what he promised? That he would protect him? Ooh. Ooh, wow. This is a good attack, Ichigo. That's more agility than I thought would happen for, like, someone who's more into, like, street fighting in terms of what they have training for. He doesn't want to fight people. Oh yeah, that one. Right, back with his grandfather? Oh. Is he Mexican? Or had like Mexican descent? Okay. Really? Are they gonna try and take away his necklace? Ah. So he was born in Japan and then he moved to Mexico? Oof. That's no good. he lose his grandfather some way? Or does grandfather get hurt or something? Or someone else get hurt that was important to him? Why are you being so mean to him? Why are they so mad? What did Shadow do? Why are you beating up an old man and a child? I think he's about to go Hulk mode. Oh. The sass, the confidence. Aww. Aw, they have a cute friendship. I didn't know they had history together before, like, we kind of saw them at the beginning of the show. I feel like this brunt force isn't gonna work, though. Like, you've been trying to just, like, use this beam of energy thing attack, and it has not worked out so far. So I don't think it'll change now. No! You can't do this to me. What did I literally just say about how I need people to stop being stabbed and almost dying? I can't. I went through all the stress for Renji and like haven't even known him for that long. And you're telling me I'm gonna have to go through the same stress, but like 10 times worse because it's Shadow? Nobody warned me! I can't. Okay, okay, wait. Okay, just. The show is gonna age me. Personal pep talk. Because my heart hurts. He could be fine. Just because a sword has been slashed in his general direction does not necessarily mean that he is dead definitively. It probably means that he's injured. It might lead to close to death. But, positive thinking into the universe. He will be fine. Please, God, let him be fine. I'm too stressed. Okay, it's fictional, Sarah. It's fictional. Okay. So what did we learn in this episode? As much as I hate to admit it, I do like the flower pink kimono captain. He seems chill. Seems a little bit theatrical. He seems like he just wants to have a good time. Pretty powerful, as you would expect from a captain. And, you know, he just wanted to have a drink. He just wanted to not have to fight. I get it. You know, he's like, I don't want to hurt you, you don't want to hurt me, but we have differing, like, you know, we're on different sides of this whole issue. And it's really just a sad thing that, like, they have to fight each other, because I think ultimately they would have, like, gotten on a little bit. Got to learn some of the backstory of Shadow, like the fact that he has, like, Mexican heritage. That's cool. I've known quite a few people who are from Mexico, actually. I've had friends that are from Mexico, and we're spending some time farther north, and then have gone back to Mexico. So it's an interesting thing to have, like, someone who is, well, I think anyway, having someone who's like Mexican, North American seems like far more likely to happen than someone who is like Mexican Japanese mix. But I don't know a lot about like the ethnical diversity of Japan, so what do I know? But yeah, interesting that he was born in Japan, he grew up there for a little bit, and then moved to Mexico to live with his grandfather, and then came back. Seems like an interesting life. And he used to get into a lot of fights, which, fun fact about me, maybe not fun, but, a fact about me, I also used to get into quite a few fights, which, probably seems, like, unlikely, given that I am not a violent person at this point in my life, and from my reactions to fights happening and people getting hurt, you're probably like, that's ridiculous, but, yeah, I got in trouble a few times for getting into fights, but, like, kind of a similar thing, where it was, like, a lot of, you know, like with Shadow, like a lot of anger and frustration, like he lost his parents and like people were, picking on him because he was different, probably very different if he was coming from Japan to Mexico. Like those are very, from what I know about, like very different culturally. Like it's very different to be like come from like such a different cultural structure between the two of them, but also like I don't know if he knew how to speak like Mexican Spanish when he went there. Like there might have been like a language issue too, especially since he's pretty quiet in general. He's different in general. People tend to like be against things that are different no matter how slight. Like we find ways to be awful to each other as children when we've grown up in exactly the same place and have like basically the same background. So having someone who's from a completely different continent with a different language and a different culture coming over and, being different in terms of being, bigger and stronger and quiet and, there's lots of things about Shadow that make him a target for that kind of a thing. So I understand him kind of being confrontational in his youth, but like finding ways like through learning from his grandfather that he doesn't want to fight for himself. If he's going to fight, it's going to be for somebody else. And I really loved learning about some of the history of him and Ichigo. We learned a little bit before too, just about them kind of having similar things where like they were both outsiders. They're both people that for some reason people wanted to push into that other category and wanted to pick fights with, and both who were, ultimately like good people who wanted to do things to help other people, and for whatever reason they were like blocked from doing that. And the fact that they were like, okay, let's help each other then, like let's have each other's back if no one else is gonna do it for us. So I liked learning about that too. And we learned about I think it's a new power, because Shadow, we didn't really see him use his power a lot. So like him being able to use that kind of like concentrated energy behind his punch is like new. Like, and he even pointed out that like if he had done it a couple of times he would have been completely exhausted, whereas now he can use it a lot more. It doesn't seem to be working out as a strategy though. Like I feel like close combat might be where he excels as opposed to like long distance. And like at the moment he was like fighting from a distance, and then he was in his last attack he was trying to get closer in, and that doesn't seem to have worked out well. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to talk about it. I just want to watch the next episode, and I just want to check in on my on my characters. This arc is too much for me. We started off in such a fun comedic place with Ganju and his boar. But it's okay. It's okay. It's just end of season stress. And things will get better. So I hope you had fun watching along with me. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel so you won't miss when I post new stuff. I post Bleach episodes every Monday to Friday until we finish it up. And if you want like more up-to-date stuff about when I'm posting and what I'm posting, you can check out the banner over on my channel. That is the most up-to-date stuff. And I will see you in the next video, where I will hopefully not have a panic attack, but we'll see. Bye!